YouTube. I wanted to show you guys a couple bars I picked up. These are 10 ouncers. As you guys know, I'm kind of on a little bar kick right now. Not that anything drastically has changed in my strategy or anything. I'm just trying to pick up as much weight as possible. And at my LCS, I get these for about 60 cents over spot. So that's pretty much what I'm doing currently. But the only reason I'm telling you that is just to explain what the background is for today. But basically, this video is going to be what my top 5 mistakes were as a beginner stacker. I know that it'll help a few of you guys out, but at the same time, this might not help you out at all because your strategy may be way different than mine. Keep that in mind as I go through this, that basically your mistakes may not be the same as my mistakes, and vice versa. I consider myself to be a weight stacker. I just want as much weight as possible because I don't see silver being at a low price for a long time. So I plan on making most of my money or saving most of my money because of the fluctuations in spot price, not necessarily collector or numismatic value appreciation over time with rarer coins, more desirable coins or something like that. So yeah, just keep that in mind as I go through this. I want to tell you what my first mistake was. My first mistake was pretty much when I first started quote-unquote seriously stacking. I became rather overzealous quite quickly, and I wanted to thin out my savings account to a level that would still support a few months of rent and bills, but I didn't want a lot of money just hanging out in my bank account. And while I still agree that this is a good thing, I don't think that being impatient is wise. So slow and steady wins the race when it comes to purchasing silver. When you first start purchasing silver, it isn't likely that you're at the lowest spot price that's gonna be around for the next couple months. So the day you want to start, that is not the bottom, you know. So, or it's likely not the bottom, I should say. And your dollar's not going to change much in your bank account over the course of a couple months unless some disaster happens. So wait for a good time to buy. For example, I started buying around $17.50. Today's spot is about $17. Last week it was $16 and some change. And you can see where I'm going with this, that although I think $17.50 is a good time to buy, it wasn't the best time to buy. So I could have squeezed a couple more ounces out of whatever bulk I was buying just by being a little bit more patient. My second mistake is getting bored. So when you first start stacking, just piling up on eagles isn't a bad way to go, but eventually every eagle looks exactly the same, every ounce is just another ounce, and you want to start to venture off into new stuff. So you may buy an elephant, or you may buy a koala, or you may buy some fractional sizes, or some weird shaped stuff, and all of that with some higher premiums, just to keep it interesting. And while I think that's a good thing to do, because this is not only a hedge, it's not only an investment, but it's also a hobby. So whatever makes you happy, do that. But basically what I wasn't thinking about when I started was how exactly I was going to sell. So a lot of the premiums that you just paid for all those weird coins are going to be a lot harder to get back if you're not looking in the very long term. So you could maybe get them back if they appreciate in value, or you can get them back if you set up an eBay account and try to sell them like at a retail value. But if your end game is to sell to a local coin shop, you're not really going to get those premiums back unless you got a really good deal, or you spot went up a bunch, or you waited a long time. And the same is said with your eagles, or the same is said with your generic rounds. All of those things will give you a profit if the market goes up, basically. So there's no real benefit to being, I guess, ADD about what kind of silver you're buying. And that's just my thing. I got a little bored, started buying a bunch of weird stuff, and now I'm realizing that maybe I paid a little bit too much on premiums for things that weren't really worth it. Like, for example, I guess, a koala or something like that. Koalas are great investments if you want to hold on to them for a couple of years. Then you can get the increase in price back, which is cool. But at the same time, the amount you paid over spot at that time could have easily been saved into a little side pile. And then you could accumulate those premiums that you didn't spend and maybe buy another ounce another day. And now all of a sudden, you don't have to wait 2 years if, for example, if for some reason you want to sell early. Or, you know what I'm kind of getting at there? I don't really know how to express that one really, but... Okay, so my third mistake is, this one comes from the second mistake. So once you purchase a bunch of weird stuff, I got really annoyed kind of with all the weird shapes, all the odd sizes, all of that kind of stuff sitting around in my safe. It looks pretty cool, and it is pretty cool, and it's fun, and it's a hobby, but when you start getting a lot of ounces, and I say a lot like I have a lot, I don't have a lot, but I have enough for it to be annoying. all of a sudden it's a giant mess, and that bothers me. So that was one of my mistakes, is I didn't really think about, okay, it's nice to have 5 different coins, but if you have 500 different coins, all of a sudden you lose track of them. It's hard to find the one you want. It's a big thing, and it's going to require you some work to keep it organized. So that was my third mistake. Mostly I was just annoyed at all the weird stuff I bought. My fourth mistake was not realizing how anal and OCD I was. So every weird coin I bought now requires a capsule, because the reason the weird coin is weird is basically because its premium was high, and I want to maintain that premium as best as I can. So I need to figure out a way to store and protect that coin. Now the premium just went up 50 cents, a dollar, whatever kind of capsule you're using. All of a sudden you're paying more just to keep that thing in good shape, which is perfectly fine. I'm not bashing you guys that do that, but if you want to call yourself a weight stacker and all you care about is the weight of your silver, then you're just throwing money away trying to protect your stuff. And as you guys know, I have a kabillion square capsules. And the square capsules are a little bit more expensive, and they make me happy, the way they look, the way they sit in their boxes, the way I can organize with them, and that's great, but they cost me money. And I could have just had more silver, and that was the whole point to begin with, was to have more silver. So that was one of my mistakes, is just getting bored. So you need to figure out, I guess, what your strategy is going to be before you start buying stuff. My fifth mistake is also along the same lines, buying slabbed coins. Now, there's nothing wrong with buying slabbed coins. These generally have a larger premium on them, and they can appreciate pretty quickly sometimes, and they're also a lot less liquid though. So my goal is to sell to an LCS at the local coin shop at the end of the day. Whenever I want to sell, I want to just sell it as fast as I can. I want to sell it as easily as I can. I want to sell it as maybe anonymously as I can, right? So the fastest and easiest way to quote-unquote cash out is a local coin shop. You're guaranteed to take a loss on your slabbed coins at a local coin shop. Your local coin shop will never pay you the retail value of a slabbed coin. In fact, the local coin shop, or mine at least, will pay you about 75%, which kind of sucks, because it's just silver after all, right? And so if it's $10 over spot for that slabbed coin or something, or double spot or whatever, maybe they'll give you $7 over spot instead. And so that's a 75%-ish premium loss that you spent, that you lost, and all of that stuff. So anyway, I bought some slab pandas a while ago. I have a video on it. I love my slab pandas, but at the same time I hate my slab pandas. I wish I never bought them, and now that I have them, obviously I'm going to keep them and sell them the right way. But they are not liquid the way I want my stack to be liquid, and they don't weigh as much as they cost. And so that's kind of a mistake I made. And so I guess where I'm going with this is those are pretty general mistakes. I'm not going to give you very specific things. But all I'm trying to say is that before you go nuts, before you start buying a bunch of silver, be patient, be honest with yourself. What is your end game? What are your goals? What kind of stacker do you want to be? How do you plan on selling your stack? Those are the questions you need to ask yourself. Then maybe wait a couple days, wait whatever you want, do some trend analysis or something, and try to not blow your whole savings in one day on whatever spot price is that day, because I promise you it will go lower. It will also come up, and you may be at a dip, so I'm going to feel bad if you're on the dip today and you didn't buy. But I would say a little bit of patience isn't going to kill you, and I think overall I could have squeezed another 5% of my stack had I just bought at the right times instead of buying every day. But yeah, that's not going to stop me from buying every day. I'm just saying that that's something you might want to think about. So that's kind of all I got going on today. I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank you for all the support you've given me so far. And I want to know in the comments what mistakes you've made, if you don't mind sharing them. And I also wanted to remind you guys, we are ridiculously close to the 450 sub giveaway. We may actually be at 450 subs by the time this gets uploaded. And so if we're not though, hop over to the video called It's the Queen's Birthday, participate, and maybe you can win yourself some silver proof quarters, some 90%ers. And yeah, you guys have an awesome day. Thanks again.